I do think that's a bit better, actually. I'll switch to Arceus. And just go for a big Astral Barrage here. Break through the Sand Attack drop once again, ideally. It's not Scarf Kyogre, but I do miss Astral Barrage into both targets. Another Sand Attack comes out from Garchomp. Water Spout knocks out both of my Pokemon. All right. Basculegion, I need big Last Respects damage here. Let's go. And one more time for this year. This is Ghost Month. The special that I do in October, because Ghost is my favorite Pokemon type, and happens to have a particular month of the year that's very easily associated with it. One team, built around a Ghost type, every week of October. This is, of course, the last one for this year. And last year I ended Ghost Month with a mono Ghost team, so it kind of felt like it wouldn't be right to not do that again. But I also wanted to build around Ghost type Arceus, because it's hard to get a better finale than the God Pokemon, you know? What's an escalation from the already mythical Hoopa? I think Ghost Arceus is the answer. And I haven't used this one form on the channel before. I've used Normal and Fairy, but not Ghost. But it didn't feel right to not do Mono Ghost, so I kind of went back and forth on which one I was going to do, and then I just did both. It's Calm Mind, Ghost Arceus. Playing, I suppose, the Annihilate role. A little bit trickier without leftovers, but I do have Recover on this, meaning it only gets the one attack, Judgment. Terra Dark covers its weaknesses, and also protects it from Taunt. So, hopefully that'll be okay. I do have a familiar trio of Sableye, Sinistcha, and Basculegion. I don't think they hold up as well in Reg J as they do in Reg H, and I'm not sure how many games Basculegion actually gets to. Sableye's still here setting the screens. I have changed Thunderwave to Will-O-Wisp, because it could be important to burn things like Ice Rider Calyrex and Koraidon if it's not turned into a Fire type, although I suspect they often would against this team. But Ice Rider, Zamazenta, maybe. Zamazenta's not that scary into a full team of Ghosts, but you get the idea. There are a lot of strong physical... here, Urshifu, there's a good one, because it can crit through... well, it just hits hard with crits. So Will-O-Wisp on the Sableye this time. The Sinistcha, again, a couple of small changes. Terra Fire to help it take hits from giant threats like Koraidon and Ice Rider Calyrex. Fairy is still good, but I don't specifically need an Order Up immunity in a format with not very much Dondozo. And I thought I'd try Scald instead of Strength Sap, because Clear Amulet is a lot more real in this format than it is in Reg H. It's going to come up a lot more often on the big name physical attackers. So the greater chance of burning with Scald compared to Machagacha, I think it's a bit more valuable than Strength Sap into the scariest threats. And also, you know, if they have like a Terra Fire Ice Rider Calyrex to prevent Sableye or Sinistcha from burning it, at least Scald is super effective. The Basculegion makes the team because it's just a really strong Pokemon. And, you know, if the other modes have failed, if Arceus hasn't gotten properly set up, then Basculegion can maybe clean up with Last Respects. We've seen that in the Reg H version a lot of times. I've dropped Flip Turn for Grass Terra Blast. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Actually, I think I'm going to change it back to Flip Turn. I was thinking about, like, dealing with things like Kyogre, but, I mean, Last Respect still hits those pretty hard. I think Flip Turn is fine. Maybe I'll keep Grass Terra Blast for now and see how I feel about it. I do think Basculegion has a smaller role this time than it does on the Reg H version of the team, and that, of course, is because this is a double restricted format. I do get another restricted Pokemon, and you can see here already that it's Shadow Rider Calyrex. The fastest restricted Pokemon in the game, other than some Deoxys forms. And I have Psych Up so I can copy Arceus' Calm Mind boosts. Finally, another Pokemon you don't see in Reg H in the last slot, Fluttermane is here. The Fairy typing obviously is pretty valuable to this team. But you can see I'm also running Misty Terrain. That gives me something again to use against Darkrai. I mean, Speed Booster, Energy, Photosynthesis, boosting speed with Moonblast is already pretty strong into Darkrai. But yeah, I like the idea of denying Dark Void into any of my Pokemon if I get the chance. So I probably bring Fluttermane to any Darkrai matchup that we see. And I think there was something else that it was for, but I don't really remember right now. It's a good Pokemon. We'll figure it out. Does this hold up as well as it does in Regulation H? I think probably not. I think Pokemon like Sableye and Sinistcha are going to underwhelm a little bit compared to that format. But to be honest, I didn't expect last year's Reg H team to be nearly as good as it turned out to be. I've gotten some actual decent official competition results with that thing. I'm not asking the same of this team, but maybe we get a nice little ladder run here. Let's find out. If I can get an opponent. It's taking some time. Okay, there we go. Oh, Chien-Pao. That's a bit of a problem with Mono Ghost, isn't it? Chien-Pao, normal Arceus, probably the Sword Stance stuff. At least my whole team is immune to extreme speed. Miraidon, Incineroar, Farigiraf, Landorus. Okay. Well, Flutter Mane is... I don't know if it's good into Chien-Pao, but it's one of the best things I have for that. I can see them wanting to lead Chien-Pao or Incineroar. Might actually want to lead Flutter Mane in this one with Arceus. Or I can just Terra Dark the Arceus. It can then be hit by extreme speed, though. Let's go Arceus, Flutter Mane, Sinistcha. Maybe I don't bring the screens to this one. Bring the Scarf Basculegion. That means I'm leaving Calyrex behind. This definitely feels weirder than the Reg H version of the team. Well, I could do the whole spiel again if you want. I don't expect this to be as good as that one, but I didn't expect that one to be as good as it was. So we'll see. The nice thing about facing Incineroar here, relatively speaking, relatively nice, is that if they click Knockoff into Arceus, it will do super effective damage into a Ghost type, but it won't do boosted item removing damage because you can't knock off the Spooky Plate. Flutter Mane does like no damage to Incineroar and just drops to a Shadow Claw. We see that it's Life Orb Arceus on their side. Maybe it would be nice to have my Reflect here. But they did not set up with it. I think I'm down to just rip a Wave Crash into this. I don't want them to get, Sword Stance boosted Shadow Claw. Does not amazing damage. Actually, might have been better to prioritize the Incineroar, as they're going to double into my Arceus here and do quite a lot of damage to that. Hopefully they don't call this Terra, and I can get away with Terra Dark and Recover. While I Wave Crash Arceus, they switch Miraidon into that slot. Not great. Wave Crash still does some damage. Basculegion is such a strong mon. Get the Recover before the knockoff comes out. This is +2/+2 Arceus. It probably takes... Oh, the other nice thing about Flutter Mane is I can click Misty Terrain to get rid of Miraidon's Electric Terrain, but obviously I can't do that right now. I think I want to just get rid of this Incineroar. Terra Fairy on the Miraidon, okay. Dazzling Gleam. Knocks out the Basculegion before I can get rid of the Incineroar. Now I get Sinistcha in, I get Hospitality. I am down 2 Pokemon already. The Miraidon's going to take Terra... The Miraidon is going to take... I don't have Dark Move anyway, actually I just have Judgment. Let's just click Judgment. And, I'll Life Dew if they let me get away with it. Sinistcha does have the Citrus Berry. I did think twice about that in a Calyrex format, but I couldn't think of any item that I would want more. The Citrus Berry is actually really clutch on this Pokemon sometimes, as we've seen in Reg H. We did get the KO on Miraidon. Farigiraf doesn't look like much of a threat, right? I wouldn't mind... Okay, I can keep clicking Life Dew with Sinistcha for now. Let's just get Arceus healthy. Their Arceus having a Life Orb, it can still take 3 more hits of that, but it's kind of nice. I could Life Dew or I could just Scald Incineroar, but I don't think Scald does that much. Let's just Life Dew. Both my Pokemon seem to be faster than their Incineroar. I guess I could have clicked Judgment and just gotten the Life Dew recovery on Arceus. Okay, Sinistcha's knocked out. Yes, the Life Dew didn't really accomplish anything. Scald into Incineroar would have been strictly better, I guess. Let's just try to get knocked out Incineroar if we can. The knockoff should not do too much. And oh, they U-turn. Okay. I was gonna say they didn't have Flare Blitz, but then I remembered actually they do. Oh, I don't have an attack into their Arceus anymore. It does knock itself out with Life Orb damage, but assuming it has Sword Dance... Oh, I don't have attack into Farigiraf either. Okay, no. I thought I was doing okay here, and then I remembered that normal types exist. Oh well. Growing pains for the team. We'll see how the next game goes. I'll play this one out, but I don't think there's a way that I win. I guess if they time out, that's a way. Wonder what they're thinking about here. I've shown every move on Arceus. They know I don't have an attack to hit their normal types. That's a trade-off for a cover, I guess. I don't get any coverage on this thing. It's probably worth it, but sometimes it's going to feel like it's not worth it, and this would seem to be one of those times. Do they not have Swords Dance? What is this? What happens if they don't have an attack on Farigiraf? I think I start struggling first and I lose, right? There probably isn't any way to win this, but I'm down to wait until I'm absolutely certain. Very likely is no way to win this. Scream Speed. Knockout Incineroar. They forfeit? Why did they forfeit? I think they had this I think they very, very likely had this guaranteed. I mean, yeah, I can recover, and their Arceus will drop to its own Life Orb in a couple of turns, but then how do I ever beat the Farigiraf? Maybe the Farigiraf doesn't have an attack, and they just did, or anything to hit. Maybe its only attack is Psychic. That would make sense, actually, and they just didn't want to play this out. Maybe it was a rough endgame for both of us. That's kind of fair. But no Swords Dance on the Arceus? The setup was completely free and they never went for it, so that surprises me. But hey, we do start with a win. I guess we take those. Miraidon, Farigiraf, Whimsicott. Oh, Whimsicott's an issue. Well, that's true in Reg H as well. Landorus, Ice Rider, Calyrex, and some kind of Urshifu. There's no Urshifu in Reg H. I'm really feeling that difference right now. Let's play this team the way I'm familiar with, more or less. It wouldn't be bad to bring Fluttermane to this, because Moonblast, Shadow Ball, but maybe even Misty Terrain, depending on the circumstances. But let's stick with the old familiar for this game. Oh, I can Terra Dark the Arceus as well. That does make it weak to Moonblast, but it is a way around Encore that my Annihilate doesn't have in the old Monoghost team. Arceus, Sableye, Sinistcha, Calyrex. It is Calyrex instead of Basculegion. It is my other restricted Pokemon. Let's see what happens. Miraidon, Farigiraf is the lead. I'm going to click Calm Mind and Light Screen, and we're going to see how many million points of damage Arceus takes before it gets the Calm Mind off. Especially if it's Helping Hand Farigiraf again. Or Terra Electric Miraidon. Let's see. Farigiraf, of course, protects them from any prankster shenanigans from Sableye. It doesn't stop Light Screen. Sableye gets one shot by Volt Switch, but we don't get to see the damage into Arceus. I get another boost on Arceus right now. You know, an actual Calm Mind boost. Yeah. If Sableye we're running Encore, Disable, Will-O-Wisp. It does have Will-O-Wisp. Of course. Farigiraf would shut that down. I'm hesitating here because I actually think I want to bring in Sinistcha and Terra Fire. And either Matcha Gotcha or Scald into Calyrex. I guess the problem with Terra Fire into this is that a lot of them run high horsepower. Most of them run high horsepower. The other thing is, it means that I can't Terrastallize my Arceus. But I think that doesn't make a huge difference here. Maybe they have the Whimsicott in the back, but I'm not confident that they do. Scald the Calyrex, that just for the better burn chance compared to Matcha Gotcha. I think I'm good with that. Calm Mind, Terra Fire, Scald. Helping Hand. Glacial Lance, I didn't get Reflect up. There's a lot of damage, but less than half to both my Pokemon. No Scald Burn. They can high horsepower Sinistcha now if they want. With that in mind, I'm going to click Judgment into Calyrex and Scald. Get a little bit more aggressive here. Glacial Lance probably doesn't KO either of my Pokemon, but it does put me in a bad spot. But they do go for high horsepower. They get their Chilling Neigh boost. Rigraff goes for Psychic Noise. That'll shut down my Recover for a little bit, but this is a +2 Judgment. It knocks out Calyrex. Trick Room is still up. That's bad for my Calyrex, but not that bad for Arceus, considering their Miraidon. They do have Whimsicott. They just saved it until now. Very tricky. Alright, well, then I click Judgment, and... Psychic. Double into Whimsicott, try to get rid of it before the Trick Room ends, if I can. Fake Tears into Arceus. That wipes out the special defense boost that I already have. Not the end of the world. Oh, okay. The Psychic Noise does some damage, but we knock out Whimsicott. Miraidon is here. Trick Room is still up. A lot of Miraidon don't run Protect. Let's see about this one. Terra Fairy. Helping Hand. Arceus goes first. Does a lot of damage, doesn't KO. Miraidon is slower than Shadow Rider Calyrex. Of course it is. We do knock it out here. We do get a Grim Neigh. It's just a question of whether Calyrex can beat the Farigiraf now. And I might as well keep attacking while my light screen is still up. It's not bad damage. We get the special attack drop. That could matter quite a lot, but Farigiraf is only hitting back with Psychic Noise. It's doing very little, so I think Calyrex wins this even without that drop. But let's see. Maybe they've tricked me somehow. Protect. They have leftovers, so the drop might prove important. This is also the last turn of light screen, so the Psychic Noise will do a bit more after this, but nothing. They knock Calyrex out with a crit. I think that's a win if they don't get that crit there. But it's Pokemon and crits happen. Once again, the team feels a little bit shaky, but that was very nearly a win. That last turn was massively in my favor. And a crit's a crit, but, you know, can't really argue with the results so far, even if the process looks a little bit questionable. We got Shadow Rider, Calyrex, Torkoal, Kyogre, Whimsicott, Indeedee, and Garchomp. The nice thing about this is this team should be almost entirely special attackers, so if I only get one screen again, that's not that bad. Especially in combination with Calm Mind. Is it just the same Pokemon? Sinistcha's kind of nice because if Arceus gets boosted, they can only do so much damage into it quickly, and I can heal that off. Sinistcha probably goes down. Sinistcha's biggest problem on this team is that it gets knocked out itself considerably more quickly than it does in Reg H, but I mean, Hospitality can still be worth it. That said, into this team, maybe just bringing Fluttermane and Basculegion, or maybe even Calyrex is better. I said that backwards. Calyrex or maybe even Basculegion is what I meant. I don't know if Sinistcha is really worth it here. Let's try a more offensive mode. Whimsicott, Garchomp. I could Terra Dark the Arceus, not have to worry about Encore. I don't think there's much downside to that in this matchup. I don't really see a way that they... Well, they can Moonblast with Whimsicott. That's a way that they punish. I'll go for a Calm Mind this turn without Terastallizing. I can Terastallize next turn if I want. And I'll go for the light screen. I do see the Garchomp right in front of me. Okay, what? Alright. Don't love that for me. But you know what? I'm willing to just play through it and hope for the best. I'll Terra Dark here and Calm Mind. Whimsicott Moonblast shouldn't hurt too much after some special defense boosts. I'll throw a Will-O-Wisp into this Garchomp. I don't want to deal with this too long. Yeah, they do go for the Encore there. Stealth Rock. Alright. That will break the Sash on my Calyrex if and when that comes in. They have Tailwind up, and I don't feel very pressured by these Pokemon. The worst thing I've seen so far is the Sand Attack, which isn't great, but it's not necessarily game-winning by itself. So I'm going to reflect and go for another Calm Mind, and I'm looking to click my attacks into Whimsicott on the next turn so I can deny a second Tailwind. Dragon Tail! Oh, I should have known. There go my boosts. I should have known. I don't have anything good to click into this. I wanted to knock out Whimsicott this turn, but what am I going to Wave Crash it? You know what? I'm not that afraid of the Garchomp, especially now that it's burned. I am going to Wave Crash and Foul Play Whimsicott. We'll see what kind of damage that does. They Moonblast Sableye, doesn't KO. Sand Attack, Basculegion. Wave Crash does a lot. Foul Play will not do a lot is the problem. They do get another Tailwind if they want it. Yeah, I am down to try to get rid of this Pokemon. They do let me knock it out. And we connect through the Sand Attack drop. Another Sand Attack into Basculegion. Foul Play into Garchomp does a bunch of damage. Sableye gets knocked out back by the Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet. They don't have Tailwind back up. I guess I'll go Calyrex here. Indeedy. Not especially what I want to see. But yeah, I mean, I lose the Focus Sash as soon as I bring this in anyway, so I don't need to try to preserve that. I'm going to Wave Crash and Psychic into Indeedee. Try to get rid of that because of the redirection threat, obviously. I guess I could have clicked Astral Barrage and knocked out Garchomp, but I'm really not that afraid of this Garchomp. It hasn't shown much damage potential. Sand Attack is annoying. Sand Attack is very annoying, but it hasn't shown much else that it can do. Honestly, I think I keep Basculegion in here and I try to Wave Crash Kyogre. Or I could switch to Arceus and try to use Basculegion as a win con, maybe with Last Respects instead. I do think that's a bit better, actually. I'll switch to Arceus. And just go for a big Astral Barrage here. Break through the Sand Attack drop. Once again, ideally. It's not Scarf Kyogre, but I do miss Astral Barrage into both targets. Another Sand Attack comes out from Garchomp. Water Spout knocks out both of my Pokemon. Alright. Basculegion, I need big Last Respects damage here. Let's go. I didn't get any other misses from the Sand Attacks until that moment, so I can't complain too much, but that was a really bad time to miss the Kyogre specifically. The Garchomp wasn't so bad, but it was really bad for me to miss Kyogre there. Last Respects into Kyogre. It KOs. Okay, still in this. Especially with Garchomp still going for Sand Attack. Land one more Last Respects and we still win. Let's go. Basculegion's too good. I had a feeling this Pokemon would hold up pretty well here because it's just so strong. Okay. So the Sand Attack miss did arrive at a bad time, but overall it was okay. Just that one bad miss was manageable. I don't know how I ever beat a double Bikes team with this. I mean, I'll probably bring Flutter Mane, right? Because I can only Terrasilize one Pokemon out of a weakness to it, and most of their team has some kind of weakness to it. Granted, their own Flutter Mane will probably speed tie mine. Koraidon, Miraidon, Farigiraf, Chi-Yu, Flutter Mane, Annihilate. I don't know that I can set up Arceus against this, but... Oh no, it just gets wrecked by Chi-Yu and Flutter Mane, or by Koraidon if I Terrasilize, right? I don't have a better idea. Let's see what happens. I'll bring Calyrex and I'll bring Flutter Mane. I think this team is just not very beatable for what I have, but I'm down to test that. Alright. Gonna put a lot of my hopes in this light screen here. Come on, Sableye. Let's go. They Moonblast Sableye. Okay, that's good. Not targeting Arceus this turn is good for me. Volt Switch into Arceus still does so much damage. Yeah, it's definitely harder for this kind of... Okay, and they brought Koraidon. It's definitely harder for this kind of team in a restricted format. But I'm having fun. The results are better than I thought they might be so far. I can bring my Calyrex in here. The problem is... So I kind of want to bring Flutter Mane. The problem with that is they can Terrasilize Koraidon out of the weakness. But I guess if I can knock out their Flutter Mane, that's okay. The thing is, my Terra Dark Arceus is never that good here. Okay, let's bring Flutter Mane. Let's cover Terra Flutter Mane, Shadow Ball there. Oh, it could be Sash Flutter. Terra Electric Koraidon. They have Terra Blast boosted by the terrain or something? Wild Charge boosted by the terrain. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen that before. Didn't quite get the KO on Arceus, but that's a really cool attack. And if they bring Miraidon in now, I mean, they're threatening massive damage in Arceus. They bring in Chi-Yu. I guess if Miraidon would be outsped by my Flutter Mane. I have that one thing going for me. Let's protect Arceus here. And Moonblast the Chi-Yu. For big damage. And a special attack drop. Nice. They wild charge Flutter Mane and knock that out. But my Calyrex should come in now and get a KO or two with Astral Barrage. Quick Judgment into this for good measure. Oh, it could be Scarf. No, it's not. Well, it could have been Scarf Chiyu, but it's not. Lucky me. 2 KOs with Astral Barrage. Arceus has gotten a Calm Mind, but hasn't done much else in this game. Now they bring in Miraidon. It could be Scarf Miraidon, but I still have the Sash intact on Calyrex. I'm just going to quick Astral Barrage and Judgment. GG. This team feels like it should put out too much offensive pressure for my team to handle, but somehow we found a way. Flutter Mane put in a ton of work there. Basculegion last game, Flutter Mane this game. Good stuff. The restricted duo are not even really the stars so far. Although, actually, Shadow Rider Calyrex got 3 out of 4 KOs and completely saved that last game, so it kind of was the star of that one. But I want to show some respect to Flutter Mane too. Ice Rider Calyrex, Kyogre, Rillaboom, Urshifu, Arcanine, and Klefki. Okay. Either form of Urshifu is really bad here because Single Strike is just a giant threat into my team, and Rapid Strike is powered up so much by Kyogre that it's also a giant threat into my team. I probably have to take that pretty seriously. Sinistcha is very good into Rapid Strike Urshifu. Flutter Mane is the best I've got into Single Strike Urshifu. It might well be worth bringing both of them for that reason. That would mean, what, leaving Basculegion behind? Maybe leaving Calyrex behind too. Actually, what does this team have for lead? Shadow Rider Calyrex. Thunderwave Klefki is what it has, but are we sure? So this is a weird force. Okay, they do lead Klefki. Yeah, that was the one thing that I didn't especially want to see here, but it does mean less pressure on Arceus. Probably just switch my Calyrex out here, although what to? I think I just protect it this turn and see what they go for. It is Thunderwave into Calyrex immediately. This is not Terra Dark Calyrex. Oh, Snarl Arcanine. Gonna take away the special attack boost from my Arceus. And it's gonna massively weaken Calyrex. It actually just puts a ton of pressure on my team in general. Like, what do I switch in on that? Sinistcha is probably the best answer. And it's not a very good one. But it doesn't mind being paralyzed, at least. Takes a lot from that Snarl, actually. I'll throw off a Judgment. And a Scald into Arcanine. They set Light Screen with Klefki. Good call. Pretty hard. If I had Basculegion, I'd still be in trouble with the Thunder Wave. This duo is actually just really hard for this team to deal with. But I'd be a little bit better off. I think I just keep clicking Judgment into Arcanine here. But if they have Morning Sun, then I'm really in trouble. And yeah, Life Dew with Sinistcha to try to keep my Pokemon healthy. Judgment already doesn't do a whole lot. Sinistcha's fully paralyzed. Really bad time for that, but oh, no, it doesn't take another Snarl, actually. That is just a really bad time for that. But there's nobody I want to bring in on a Snarl. I could Terra Fire. It doesn't feel like a very good use of my Terra, but it might be necessary here. I set Reflect for good measure. This does enable Sinistcha to survive a Snarl. Do I get the Life Dew? I do. I'm mitigating Arcanine as an offensive threat. The Snarl drops are still really annoying, and if they have Morning Sun, I mean, I'm kind of just counting on a crit to beat this thing, right? And now, this all sets up for the Calyrex to go nuts, yeah, because what do I have to deal with that? Still don't knock out Arcanine. Sinistcha's fully paralyzed again. That's really bad. A Life Dew could have gone a long way there, potentially. They have a pretty free Trick Room here if they want it. I'll go for Scald into Calyrex. If I get the attack off, maybe I burn it. Okay, Kyogre comes in on Judgment, takes 3%. They do just go for the Glacial Lance, which is what I was afraid of. Would have really liked to get that Life Dew last turn. But I keep letting my Pokemon get paralyzed, and here we are. But, I mean, maybe I needed to get Flutter Mane in somehow and go for the Misty Terrain. I really don't feel like I had much counterplay to those Thunder Waves. I think I just lose to Kyogre now. I'm going to go Calyrex. I don't like the damage into the light screen, but I have to not just fold against Water Spout somehow, right? Quick Recover and Astral Barrage. Okay, they Terra Fire. That'll weaken the damage into their account. This does look nothing. I think I just dropped the Water Spout anyway. I would rather to the Glacial Lance. Arceus survives, but it doesn't take another Water Spout after this. And Flutter Mane is not saving this one. This was a really interesting team, and yeah, I just had nothing for the duo of Klefki and Arcanine, which is not something you run into too often in this format, but they really got me good with that. I just noticed my opponent's username is Arcanine only, so this might be... You remember the Master Trainers from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee? This might be the Arcanine Master Trainer right here. They might be the leading expert on Arcanine and Scarlet and Violet VGC, and it showed here. I was completely unprepared. Let's play a little bit more, though. Miraidon, Shadow Rider, Whimsicott, Farigiraf, or Shifu Iron Hands. Okay, I can try to set up Arceus on this. Maybe I can burn Iron Hands if they play with that early, or Shifu if it's not the Dark type one. Calyrex really does sometimes just save games for this team. And I can bring Basculegion as well. It's pretty good here with the Scarf. I just still get outsped by their stuff. With Aqua Jet on it. I can bring Flutter Mane, that's very fast. And it's strong into all these most of these Pokemon. Okay, bring Flutter Mane. Whimsicott, Calyrex lead. I think I'm fine to just Terra Dark turn 1, Calm Mind, Light Screen. Once again, no Encore pressure, no fake Tears pressure or anything like that either. It's Terra Ground Calyrex. You going for Terrible? I'm glad that it's not Terra Fairy, considering how I played this turn. I guess they were just covering for the Judgment. They do almost take out Sableye with that. I don't love giving them a free Grim Neigh. I guess it's not free if I Judgment them back. And I'll go for my Reflect while I still have the chance. Yeah, that'll take out Sableye. With the least useful, least important crit in the world. It's good damage back. It's Roar for Farigiraf. Whoa, that's cool. It brings in my Calyrex. I can bring Arceus right back in. And my Calyrex still has the Sash intact. Their Calyrex, if it has a Sash, does not still have that intact. So I'm down, I think, to just click Psychic into this slot and Calm Mind. Their Calyrex goes first. Unless they're choiced... Either they have a Choice Scarf or that's a Speed Tie, but either way, my Calyrex survives with the Sash until it gets knocked out by Farigiraf. So we trade Calyrex there. That's not amazing when I'm behind in the Pokemon count already. If that was a Speed Tie, I would rather have won it, but it's still not the end of the world. Miraidon is here. They've already used their Terra. Should be a pretty free Moonblast into that slot. I'll just go for a cover on Arceus. That mon has gotten worn down a bit. If they switch Whimsicott in and Trick Room, that's not amazing for me. I'll certainly take the damage into Whimsicott, but then I might just need Arceus to underspeed and beat Miraidon if that's possible, but they do leave Miraidon in. It survives the Moonblast. I get the drop at a lucky time once again. Flutter Mane takes the Electro Drift back pretty well. Kind of bulky Miraidon. Well, I can Moonblast it again here. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's not make silly mistakes again. I need to preserve Flutter Mane to beat the Farigiraf. I remember this from the first game. Okay, Whimsicott is coming in on Judgment. It's Sash Whimsicott, so it survives the Judgment. I get Trick Room, but that's okay because now I should be able to knock out Whimsicott before it can Moonblast anything. They have Foul Play on Farigiraf, so Flutter Mane being locked into Protect would not be great. Guess we'll see. I'll go for a Moonblast into Farigiraf if they let me, and Judgment into Whimsicott. Foul Play comes out first, so there's no Encore. Judgment takes out the Whimsicott. Moonblast. That's not good. That's not great damage into the Farigiraf. This is going to be a really annoying Arceus Farigiraf endgame, huh? That might be the worst thing about this team, that we've run into this situation twice in one laddering session. Take out Miraidon here. They forfeit. I guess they didn't want to play that nonsense out. Fair enough. You know what? If I get some wins just by being more stubborn in positions that are a nightmare to play, those are still wins, I suppose. It's a ladder. It's not that deep, but anyway, we move on to the next one. Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, Ground Arceus, Zamazenta, Rillaboom, and Fluttermane. Well, I do like this team into Zamazenta. I feel neutral to okay about it into Ground Arceus. I don't love it so much into Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, and Fluttermane, but what can you do? That's the matchup in front of us. Let's just bring... I should probably bring Fluttermane to this one. I also should probably bring Calyrex just because it's so good. There's definitely a case for Basculegion here, but I feel most confident with this four. Sinistcha is kind of... to be honest, Sinistcha is kind of falling out of the rotation because its bulk just doesn't keep up as well in this format as it does in Reg H. Grimmsnarl and Arceus. I could Terra Dark to avoid Thunderwave from Grimmsnarl, but that obviously makes Spirit Break more of a hassle and creates mind games against their Fluttermane in the back, and also opens up weaknesses on Mazenta. So net answer there, I don't think I wanna. I also have no idea what this Arceus wants to go for, so I'm just gonna Will-O-Wisp it and miss. Perfect. It is Thunderwave. It's Calm Mind Arceus. And mine is fully paralyzed and unable to set up its own Calm Mind. Let's at least get a light screen here. Yeah, I wasn't sure if Ground Arceus would go special or physical. I could see Sword Stance, Calm Mind, some other weird set. I figured Will-O-Wisp, if it's physical, pretty well weakens it for the rest of the game. And if it's special, at least does chip damage. This is going to be a Calm Mind war now. The Spirit Break is still a problem. Be nice if I could pivot Fluttermane in somehow. Well, they might give me the chance with this Dazzling Gleam. So I can Moonblast the Grimmsnarl. Otherwise, it's looking like a Calm Mind war, and it might just be a question of who crits. The paralysis on my Arceus could also be a significant issue, though. I would like to see them knock out Sableye, actually. They could Thunderwave Fluttermane, then. That's a real problem, especially with their Arceus so boosted already. It probably can knock Fluttermane out pretty easily. I would love a chance to Moonblast this Grimmsnarl if I can, but it might be easier said than done. They've already worn down my Arceus quite a bit, to the point where I want a quick recover, which isn't great when I don't have a ton of those, but their Arceus actually has a coverage move, so it might not have recover, or it might not have protect. That is the worst timed para. I just lose my Arceus now. Spirit Break crit for good measure. I don't think the crit mattered that much. I said it's a question of who crit. Oh, you know what I could still do? I would love to dodge this Thunder Wave, and I think that's fair and just. I can still click Psych Up into their Arceus. I'm also going to hard switch to Fluttermane because I think they prioritize Calyrex here. Thunder Wave into Calyrex, it connects. Dazzling Gleam actually doesn't do that much though through the light screen, and I copy their boosts. Okay, we might still be cooking here. I want this Grimmsnarl out of here. I'm going to click Astral Barrage. Unfortunately, if I click Misty Terrain, the Thunder Wave comes out first because Prankster. I'm just going to go for a Moonblast into this Grimmsnarl. I hope they let me do it. I need this thing out of here. Terra Fairy on their Arceus. Grimmsnarl's not knocked out, but the Astral Barrage is still coming. Calyrex is taking a lot of damage and is not doing a lot back. Copying their boosts was pretty fun, but okay, I mean, I still get Grimnay on top. I don't know how much it's really going to help me here. Thunderwave and Spirit Break are both off the board. Incineroar is on the board. I can click that big knockoff into my Calyrex. I think I have to Terra Fairy here. I don't love it, but I think it must be done. Let's Moonblast this Incineroar. Light screen on their side of the field feels so much better than my own light screen. We still do outspeed the Incineroar, actually, so the Terra Fairy was not really valuable. They knock off Fluttermane. But I think I just can't beat their Arceus now. Is there some clutch Sableye play? Maybe if I still had Thunder Wave instead of Will-O-Wisp. And honestly, Will-O-Wisp has not been that useful this video, so maybe I should have kept Thunder Wave. Then my Calyrex would outspeed. Astral Barrage still doesn't do enough unless it crits. Well. Huh, they protect, okay. Okay, Incineroar, we get Calyrex to +3, 5, +5. Still another Pokemon in the back, and their Arceus is not paralyzed. Oh, it's Zamazenta in the back. Let's Psychic Arceus and Will-O-Wisp Zamazenta, but I don't think we actually beat these Pokemon. It was pretty rough once my Arceus got fully paralyzed at kind of the worst possible time, but and credit to my opponent, they have Thunder Wave on their team, and I did not keep Thunder Wave on my team. Did get a little bit punished for that one change. And the Sinistcha didn't hold up super well. The Basculegion certainly had some moments, though. That is the end of Ghost Month 2025. I'm sure this is not the best version of a Mono Ghost team in Regulation J. I kind of stuck closely to what I know to an extent, and some parts of it worked okay, some parts of it didn't. While, of course, I did add some new twists with the Calyrex and the Fluttermane, and I also just really wanted to use Arceus this Ghost Month. I think it's entirely possible that something like a Lunala is better in that slot, a Shadow Shield and whatnot, but maybe I'll experiment with Mono Ghost a little bit more. We'll see how I'm feeling, how much time I have. Do have other plans ongoing, of course, but for now, this was Ghost Month 2025, the annual celebration of my favorite Pokemon type. I feel pretty good about this one. Last Ghost Month, a lot of the teams did not work super well until the last one did work super well, and I've been milking that for a while. I still play that team now occasionally. This month, most of them were kind of decent, and even with the sillier ones like the Hoopa and the Drifblim, I definitely had fun in each video. So I think this was a good Ghost Month. Hopefully you enjoyed watching, and this series may be over, but lots more still happening on the channel now and in the next little bit.